What's going on, everyone? Data report for datareport.info with this weather update. Remember last week we were talking about a large-scale winter storm that would impact a large portion of the country? Take a look at the National Weather Service hazard map. It's unfolding, and this is going to be a high-impact storm from coast to coast, from the west coast straight on up into the northeastern U.S. California, Nevada, all the west coast states have wind advisories, high wind warnings, high wind watches, winter storm warnings. Then you get into the plains where you have winter storm watches and even some winter storm warnings now. Check this out here in Montana and Wyoming, especially Wyoming, where there is now a blizzard warning up for portions of Wyoming. Let's take a look at that, shall we? First off, here in South Dakota, you have the winter storm watches put out by the Aberdeen, South Dakota National Weather Service. Take a look at some of these expected snowfall totals. 8 to 12 inches in many places, with a large area receiving 12 plus inches of snow. And even here by Canby, South Dakota, or Canby, just east of South Dakota, 16 to 20 inches of snow. Brookings, South Dakota, 12 to 16 inches of snow. Winter, South Dakota, 11 to 15 inches of snow. Then you come over here to the blizzard warnings that are in effect for Wyoming. And what? Blizzard conditions expected, snow heavy at times, total accumulations of 8 to 14 inches. Northeast winds gusting as high as, get this, 65 miles per hour Tuesday night into Wednesday afternoon. Where? Rock Springs, Green River, Flaming Gorge, and East Sweetwater County, Wyoming. Alrighty, taking a look at the national satellite picture. You can see there's the southern jet stream down south. There is a little bit of a moisture associated with that, with a weak system that's over the Carolinas. There's another weak disturbance just north of that, that's in Ohio, getting ready to move across Pennsylvania. That will provide some showers tonight. And we have a Clipper system that's over the western portion of the Great Lakes in Wisconsin and Minnesota. And you can see here's our northern stream flow coming out of the northwest. That is going to be the start of our major weather system. Moving on to radar, you can see out there the very first bits of precip are starting to show up on radar. Here's the Clipper system over Minnesota, Wisconsin, getting ready to cross Lake Superior. Here's the weak system down in Virginia, and the other piece of energy that's getting ready to cross Pennsylvania. There were some showers and snow showers today across portions of northern New England. And now let's take a look at the GFS model. We'll go through the GFS, CMC, and European, because I do want to time this system out for you. And as you can see here, there's the Clipper system. Here's the weak system that crosses over Pennsylvania. And look what starts to happen late tonight into tomorrow morning in the northwest region. You start to see this system gathering steam across the mountains, which is rather unusual. Usually systems get shredded over the Rocky Mountains, but in this case, it's actually going to gather steam, and there's a large scale amount of energy that's coming off of the Pacific Northwest. And as we get into Tuesday afternoon, snow breaks out across the Dakotas, Montana, and Wyoming. As you can see at this time, we have a 991 millibar low. And then that transfers further southeast to a 986 millibar low. Overrunning precipitation continues north of that in the Dakotas. This is pretty much not even the main show. And overrunning precipitation, for those who don't know, is basically warmer air riding over the colder air, generating precipitation. This precipitation will continue to spread eastward, and behind us, there is actually another low that forms over Nevada, and that becomes the dominant parent system. And this overrunning precipitation eventually spreads into Pennsylvania. North of I-80 could start as some freezing rain, and perhaps maybe even the higher portions of the Laurel Highlands and the Alleghenies, you could see a little bit of onset freezing rain, but I don't expect that to be a major deal compared to what other areas are going to see. Snow continues across the Dakotas and now Nebraska at this point on Wednesday afternoon. The heaviest time for snow in this region is going to be Wednesday night into Thursday morning. The first bits of precipitation will enter Wednesday night into Thursday morning for New England, and the height of the storm for you will be Thursday night into, say, Friday. You can see at this point there's another piece to the puzzle on Thursday evening, or excuse me, Wednesday evening, that is starting to set up here. And that is from about Iowa on over to Chicago, across the I-80 corridor to just north of the I-80 corridor. You do have a significant area of freezing rain, and that we will have to watch out for. Because as many of you know, the I-80 corridor is a heavily traveled truck route, and that definitely could provide some travel headaches and accidents, which is never a good situation. Alrighty, continuing on here to later Thursday night, you can see heavy snow across Michigan, and really the brunt of the storm at this point across portions of the plains into Wisconsin and Minnesota. You will have heavy, heavy snow combined with strong gusty winds. Winds could gust up to 40 miles per hour. So even though at this point there are no blizzard warnings in this area, I suspect there probably will be at times blizzard conditions in this area. And Thursday morning, this low is still, look at this, it is still sitting here. And at this point, New England, say north of the I-90 corridor, is still all snow and heavy snow at that. Along I-90, you are in mixed precipitation. And coming into Thursday evening, you can see the energy kind of breaks off here. You continue to have snow in New England with more mixed precipitation. It kind of does slow down a little bit, but now you're into some really heavy snow across portions of Wisconsin. This secondary energy will eventually transfer itself over to New England, and they will kind of get a lull in between with some freezing, drizzle and sleet and light snow, and then that will pick up again Friday night. You might get another steady period before Thursday night, I should say. You'll get another steady period before this exits off the coast on Friday morning. Behind that, windy conditions, things dry out across much of the central states, and really not much happens in the south. Let's backtrack this. Look at the southern states. Really all you get is a strong southwest wind, and you will try and get some cooler air to come down to, say, about Tennessee and North Carolina, but really that is short-lived before as we get into next week. Already another ridge is trying to form with another system here over the Ohio Valley. Taking a look at the Canadian model real quickly, and you can see things are fairly similar. Here's our Clipper system that's over Wisconsin and Minnesota. That transfers east. Here's the main system that gets going on Wednesday. You have a large area of overrunning snow from Montana and Idaho all the way through to the Great Lakes that eventually spreads into the northeastern states, and things really get going here on Wednesday night. You'll notice on the Canadian model that there is one major difference. Look where the freezing line is, the ice line is, which is north of Chicago. This actually spares Chicago from a major ice storm. As you can see here, they start as rain, and just north of them goes to ice. And even in Pennsylvania, there's not much in the way of freezing rain, maybe extreme northeastern Pennsylvania. The initial system does run out ahead, just like the GFS, and then they get a second dose of wintry precipitation on early Friday morning. Taking a look at the European model here, and the European model is fairly consistent with the other guidance in showing the system. Some rain breaks out here in Pennsylvania on Wednesday evening, and then you can see the main system starts to gather out here in the northern plains. This does actually show a period of freezing rain, though, from Michigan into northern Pennsylvania above, north of Interstate 80. So it's really close for Chicago. I would pay close attention if you're living in the Chicago metro area. This then shows an area of heavy snow for New England, but there is one major difference. The snow kind of exits faster in New England, and that lull is a little more pronounced here on the European model. Then comes the second round of precipitation on very early Friday morning, ending by the time the sun rises, with exceptions to Maine. So the GFS is the most bullish on snowfall amounts for New England, and my call right now for New England would be anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of snow with isolated amounts of up to 10 inches, and some areas that see this freezing rain could see upwards of a quarter of an inch of freezing rain. Alrighty, so in closing out this video with our major winter storm, the key takeaway is a high impact event is expected for the northern U.S. And I should quickly add, which I did not before, portions of California could see several inches of snow, especially in the mountains. Multiple feet could form. And if the temperatures are cold enough, I would not be surprised if the rain tries to mix in with snow in LA. This does not happen all that often. And I was looking back at some records earlier. I believe the record for most snow ever in LA is 2 inches of snow. Yeah, that's not much snow. I don't think that's going to happen, but there could be a brief period where if you're on the outer skirts of LA, you could mix with some brief snowflakes. Alright, so those who are living in the path of the storm, you want to prepare now. Have your generators ready. If you're going to be traveling, try and postpone it. If you can't postpone it, make sure you have a winter safety kit in your car, such as a hot blanket, some food, maybe snacks, and just really try to hunker down. Make sure you have a full tank of gas if you're going anywhere. Make sure you have a full tank of gas for your generator, because areas that are closest to the low are going to see 40 to 65 mile per hour wind gust, which definitely could cause power outages for an extended period of time. Alrighty, I'd like to thank everyone for watching this video. If you find my videos to be informal and helpful to you, give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below. Alrighty, thanks for watching and stay safe, everyone.